And we're here.
Hello. Uh-oh. We
And
lose
yeah,
out.
I think she's frozen. Oh
She is
no.
frozen. She is lost in space.
Oh no.
What is
Well,
Well, welcome everybody.
yes, welcome.
Oh my goodness, she is truly frozen.
Yep. Okay, so you have tuned into Authors Up, a forum for authors about authors. A forum, yes, from authors. Okay. Obviously, I don't normally do the intros, so I may fumble through it, but we're happy to have you. So, and she's gone. So she'll be back in a minute.
She'll be back, yeah.
Victoria, you want to take it from there since I already fumbled the opening?
That's okay. That's okay. This is Authors Up. There's usually three of us, but right now there's two. This is the show we say you never know what happens each week, right?
That's true. Yeah, who could have seen that one?
Well, welcome. Hi, Nakayeta. I can't, yeah, she's here. Good evening, Nakayeta. Thank you for joining us tonight. And she's back.
Give her a second.
I don't know what happened. I got this loud buzz.
Oh.
And everything just went black.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I don't usually get a buzz, so that's different.
Did anything happen on your end? Nothing?
You froze.
Frozen.
I froze and then I went away?
Yeah, yes. So you were literally sitting there like this.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there thinking, why aren't they doing something?
And that's what we were thinking. Like, why is they doing something? So
and then it went like zzz, and then it would just pop and everything went away.
Okay. Well, technology is great until it's not.
Well, how about them apples?
That's hard.
Well, good evening, ladies. Did you all greet everybody? Did you say hello to our listeners and our viewers? Did you do any of that?
We started to, and I did say hello to Nakayeta. That's as far as we got. And then you came back.
You do it so eloquently, too, that we kind of fumbled a little bit. But, we're all here now.
It had nothing to do with eloquence. You all just didn't know why the screen went black. That's all.
That is true. That is true.
Well, we always say week after week after week, you never know what's going to happen on Authors Up. And we were true to our word tonight because I think all three of us got fooled a little bit.
And it happened just as the opening ended. We were like, what?
And I've got this thing up here now in the corner, this message that says, Chrome didn't shut down correctly. Restore page with a question mark. And I don't think I'm going to touch it.
Don't do that. You definitely would go out again.
So I say good evening to you, Ruth, and good evening to you, Victoria. Good evening to those of you who are joining us here on Authors Up tonight. Thank you, Nakayeta, for being with us. And Linda, thank you for coming in as well. This is a special, and when I say a special night for us, other than the buzz and the disappearance and all those other things, this is a great, great night for us. We have a wonderful book that we are going to be talking about, and a wonderful co-author of that book that we are going to be talking to. But before we get started with all of that, we're going to do what we usually do on Sunday nights, and that is to talk about our week in review. But first, you ladies want to say hello to everybody.
Of course, of course. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Hello, everyone. Again.
Well, let's see. Let's see. Ruth, you've been away the longest. So we know Victoria is in a different space, in a different place this evening. But Ruth, you've been doing some mighty, mighty, mighty fine traveling.
I know, right?
Yes,
Lots of going
I
on.
have.
So we're going to let you start with the weekly review tonight and tell us where you've been, what you've been up to, and what's going on in the world of Griffin.
Okay, so I've been gone for so long, I don't remember what I've talked about in the past.
Okay.
I went to England with my husband and my daughter, and that was just amazing.
Oh,
Being able to go to these historical sites that I've wanted to go to since I was a kid.
how nice.
Just, I mean, we went to the Tower of London, which is actually 22 towers. The oldest one is almost 1,000 years old. And my daughter, we were running out of time at that point. My daughter's like, "Oh, you don't have to see everything." I'm like, "No, I just want to touch the walls that have been there for 1,000 years." So it
Wow.
was just amazing. And just seeing their culture and their food. I promise you, you would just have to go over there just to eat their food because
Oh,
it is different on another level. I mean, every restaurant we went to, and we were there for 5 days, their first question was how many, and second question was, does anyone have any food allergies?
oh,
And
wow.
yes,
Right.
they take it seriously.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and they have options. That was the thing. They have options. Here, you're kind of stuck with whatever they have, but they're like, "Oh, we can make that gluten free for you." I'm like, "Oh my god, I want to
Oh,
live
how
here." So,
nice.
yes. So it was just an amazing trip, and then I came back for a few days, and then I went down to Florida right after the hurricane.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, I was going for my daughter's best friend's baby shower
Okay.
to support her because she kind of adopted me as her another mom. So I was
Yeah.
like, cool, I will be there. And you don't realize how quick, because my daughter was like, well, I can't get gas. So just Uber. And then it was, you know, the venue, we couldn't get the venue, couldn't get the food, all of
Oh,
that. And I mean, it was still nice. It was her family came over. It was lovely. But then that's when you start realizing you're
how
like,
bad
I'm
it
too
was.
old for this. I'm too old for the loud music and the smoking. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh,
So it was still a lovely time. And I'm glad I went. It's just that's when you start realizing your age. And yes. So I have been traveling. I think I'm pretty good for a few months, but
good.
Didn't you
but
have one other thing happen?
yeah, my daughter. Did I share this one? I'm gonna be a grandmother.
No, you didn't share it on the air, I
Okay,
don't
I
think.
didn't share. I'm gonna be a grandma.
What?
Next year, end of March, because technology again is awesome. They already know that they're gonna have a daughter,
All right.
and they
You're gonna
chose the
have a
name.
grandbaby girl.
Yeah, her name's gonna be Mercy Maria.
Little
So she was,
Mercy.
yes. So her middle name is she's gonna be named after her great grandmother on her dad's side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah. I'm
That's
excited.
nice. Mercy Maria. That's
Yeah.
nice. Our little Eminem.
Oh, I'll have to tell her that. Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
that's what I'm gonna call her Eminem.
Uh-huh. Oh, I love that. I love that. I'll have to remember that. But
Oh,
yeah, so I was gone, but I came back with a bevy of reviews, weekend reviews. So
oh, good,
that's all
good.
I have for now. I think that's enough.
Yeah, that is enough. The baby. Then we have a new baby to
Yeah,
look at
I know.
very soon.
I
yeah.
know. That's exciting. I know it's going to be a beautiful
Oh
little.
yeah, no, and I told I didn't tell my daughter this until recently, but the first time she showed me a picture of her then boyfriend, my first thought was, I'm gonna have so beautiful grandchildren if they stay together.
Oh,
And when they got married, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have beautiful grandchildren. And now I get to find out in like 5 months.
yes.
So,
Wow.
And she is beautiful. I'm sure she
oh yeah,
already is. She's
oh I have no
gorgeous.
doubt. I have no doubt.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I will definitely have pictures.
All
Well,
right.
good. Lots going on. Lots going on
Yep.
for you.
All
Well,
right.
let's see. For me, it was the end of the trials and tribulations of construction,
Oh
reconstruction,
yeah. How did
all
that go?
that stuff. Um, the short version is it's done.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
just stay there
Okay. Okay.
because the long version is a nightmare.
Oh, but
Oh,
your air conditioner is fixed.
No, we don't have that yet. We had
Okay.
too many things pop up in between that.
Okay.
okay.
With the when the water leaked in the house, that from
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
So we've had the bathroom redone, so that took care of the water coming down through the light fixtures and all of that.
Oh, ooh.
And
Ooh.
so we got that done, and I had to have uh, the basement redone, not completely redone, but had a system put in to eliminate the flooding every time it rains.
Okay.
So I had that taken care of. That work went on Friday, and it was so funny because I was sitting here and I'm listening to my house praying, God, just don't let it fall in because of all of the drilling and everything that
Oh my
they were doing.
gosh.
But I got up and I went to go upstairs and I looked around and they didn't prepare me for what was going to happen with the house. So
Oh,
now I have a huge cleanup uh,
okay.
to do because I looked and because they were dealing with cement and everything, there is
Okay.
just
White,
film
that white
over,
film there.
over
Yeah.
the whole house, over everything in the house. So I'll have a lot to do this coming week because I'll be
Okay.
trying to remove the film from everything.
Whew.
It's
Life,
done.
be life, huh?
Just by the end of the day, because they finished around 6 o'clock, and by the end of the day, I just wanted to say, "Go home, just please." Just,
Don't do another John Brown thing up in here.
don't, don't hit another nail. Don't pull down another wall. Don't. You're very nice people,
No.
but goodbye. Just
Good.
leave me. Leave as my daughter used to. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone now. But that's all done, and I'm grateful. I am really grateful because many of my friends and many of the people that I know that have been hit by the two hurricanes and
Right.
have much greater problems uh,
Yes.
than I do.
Right. But it's still inconvenient. You
I'm
know, it's
grateful
still
that
yeah.
it's all over. It's all over. So
Right, right.
that's that, Miss Victoria.
Well, as Sam in the comments said, no bookshelf today. No, sir. I am in a disclosed location in Tennessee. I am in Ottawa, Tennessee. I'm at my sister and brother-in-law's house in Tennessee, and I decided to show those beautiful flowers behind me. I'm sitting in their kitchen, and everybody's in that side of the house being quiet while I'm on the broadcast. But I came to visit my sister and brother-in-law, and my mom has came down Wednesday night. I came Tuesday and she came Wednesday, and we celebrated her 91st birthday on Thursday. And those
Woo!
are the
Wow.
flowers that one of my cousins gave to her. So I'm just happy to be here with my family. We've Even though I've worked still, but I've got a chance to spend with my family, my mom and my sister, of course, my brother. And we've just been having a good time. Hi, Sissy, how you doing? We've been having a wonderful, wonderful time, and you just can't. I don't even have words, you know. I've been sitting here sometime looking in space, and my sister goes, "You okay? You look sad." And no, I'm not sad. I'm just overwhelmed a little, just taking it all in, you know. Very glad to be spending time with my mom, and
Mhm.
it's just so precious, and this time is so precious. The week is gonna go by so fast, and
Mhm.
but so I'm just basking in all that. And so I'm happy. I'm really happy tonight just to be here with them and just share a little bit of the flowers. Beautiful. So that's it. That's how my week is. And next week I'll have more to talk about from the whole trip. But tonight I'm just grateful.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right. And then that is my cue to go into our guest for the week. And just so you guys know who are looking tonight and listening, we pre-recorded the show with our guest a few weeks ago to show tonight because he couldn't be here on our regular night. And his name is Bob Burg. Bob Burg is co-author with John David Mann of the international best-selling business parable, The Go-Giver. And Andrea is showing it right now. The
Trying
Go-Giver.
my best.
How do you see it? And this book has sold well over 1 million copies and has been translated into 30 different languages. So after this short break, you will be invited back, of course, to see our pre-recorded interview with Mr. Bob Burg. Be right back.
All right, and we are back. And Bob, thank you so much for joining us on our show. It is an honor to have you on.
Yes, it is. Welcome.
The honor is absolutely mine. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So usually we start with tell us about your book, and I am going to go there. I am going to ask that, but you are the author of the co-author of The Go-Giver, which has been called the most important parable about business and life of our times. It is a bestseller, selling millions of copies and a global phenomenon. It is not just a book, but a movement. I don't think your book needs an introduction more than that, but we're not going to assume that everyone who listens to our show knows about this little gem. So tell us about your book.
That's so kind. It's a business parable co-authored with John David Mann, who's really just a magnificent writer and author. He was really the lead writer / storyteller, and without him, it wouldn't have been anywhere near what it was. But so it was a real good collaboration. It was a lot of fun to do. It's about a guy named Joe. He's a young, up and coming, ambitious, aggressive, salesperson who's a good guy, but has this focus on the wrong place, if you will. It's really all about him and who owes what to him, and all about his quota, and everything. And he meets a mentor and a group of mentors, and he comes to understand, and this is really the basic premise of the book, that shifting your focus from getting to giving. And when we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing immense value to others. That doing so is not only a more fulfilling way of conducting business, it's really the most financially profitable way as well. And not necessarily just for any kind of way out there woo-woo magical mystical reasons. It's more logical than that. When you're the type of person who can take your focus off yourself and place it on serving others, discovering their needs, their wants, their desires, helping them solve their challenges, helping move them closer to happiness, people feel good about you, and they feel great about you. And they want to be part of your world. They want to be in relationship with you. They want to do business with you if they need what you sell. But they definitely want to be your personal walking ambassador and tell the world about you.
Absolutely. So now I will say that I first heard about this book from our pastor. This is one of his books that it is a must read. And he, made sure that everyone who heard him knew that they had to go read that book. So, it comes very well, very highly recommended to us. What I was curious. So you have been in the business world for a long time. You have
how much of this book was inspired either by your background, your upbringing, or was it born out of observation? Where did it come from?
Well, so I mean, I was very fortunate to be born and raised by two wonderful people. So I got to see my parents live out this type of way of being, and I know it was the same with John. So we were both blessed in that in that regard. As you get older and get into business, you see people doing things certain ways, and some are congruent with what you know and what you believe, and other things aren't, and you see different results, and sometimes the results surprise you and sometimes they don't, but you begin to see patterns after a while, and if you observe closely enough, and to me what I saw was the people who were financially successful, not just for a little bit, but who were sustainably successful, and also were happy and had great relationships and families, and people who were, they just all around seemed to have it together. They were people who were giving people. They were people who were always looking for ways that they could provide value to the world around them, that they could make the world a better place. Now, most people do that through our business, because we spend so much time in our business. So that doesn't mean we can't add to the world through other means, whether charities or other, but basically it's through work. And I'd noticed the people who were really committed to what they did, because they felt it was making a difference, to those they served. These were the people who are successful. These are, to me, people I would call go-givers. So it was good to, try my best to emulate them as best I could. And John, who was a great entrepreneur in his day, once he became a writer, he got to interview some of the most successful people in the world. As a speaker for 30 years, I've had the opportunity to appear on stage with a lot of the most successful people. And both John and I always ask questions of people. And we'd ask, what's your advice? What made you successful? What accounted for the? We also both are avid readers and are always looking to. So when we got together on this and said, okay, where do we want to go with this? And we basically asked the question. So what is it? What are those principles that successful people, and again, we like to say sustainably successful people, have utilized, some consciously, others unconsciously, just very intuitively, right? But that they all that had to happen for them to be as successful as they are. And that's sort of how we ended up writing and coming up with the 5 laws of stratospheric success, 5 principles. Nothing about them is new. And when the book first came out and we were interviewed, people would say, so this book, which is everybody's reading now, and what's new about it? What information have you guys provided that's anything new and different? And we'd say, nothing. It's and so, but we maybe took and put in a story form and put names to different, but it's all been there. Nothing's new under the sun. We know that.
Right.
Principles work, and that's why they're principles, not just.
No, and I think that is key right there, because oftentimes, and I give I usually use the example of Cinderella. That story's been told for almost 2,000 years now,
right?
But it's not the story itself; it's how you tell it. So we're storytellers because there is an audience for every one of us. Right. And it is how we tell the story that will affect them. So
that is so wonderful.
And I have to say, honestly, even as I was reading this, I was thinking, oh, well, I do that, or I don't do that.
Right. Exactly.
And I take that, and it is just now the fact that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I can, my brain processes stuff differently than say Andrea or Victoria.
Sure.
Now I can take those 5 principles and say, okay, can I measure this? And I love that you said sustainable success.
Right.
That is just amazing. But let me ask you this. What were your expectations when you first published the book? And did the response surprise you?
So John and I both felt there would be a market for the book. We felt the timing was right. We both had kind of a big enough platform that we knew we could get the word out about it, and so we thought it would be successful. I don't know if you ever really know that you're going to strike lightning, which the book kind of did. And that's because there's so many people who read it who just started promoting it all over the place and started. So I don't know if you ever know that's not, you hope that it is.
Right.
You have a good feeling about it, but yeah, I don't know if we ever got to that point. And it brings up, in a sense, something you said earlier that about how it's the way that you tell something that's already been done, because there's a lot of people who want to write books, and they'll say to me, well, I would, but the topic I want to write about has already been written about in so many books. And I'll say, yeah, but it hasn't been written from your point of view,
right,
from your experiences, from your examples, right? And I think that's the key. There's never going to be a time, I don't think, where books aren't going to be welcome into the marketplace if it adds value in a way that people want. And what they want to hear from you, how you can help them based on your experiences.
Right. I could never write The Go-Giver the way you have. Even if I did sit down to write it, it would be a completely different book. And I think that is key to understanding it. We can all hit on a certain market. We can all go after the same audience, but we will never do what the next person does. And that is, honestly, it's just amazing to me. But I love that you have hit on what you have with those 5 principles in the way that you have, because I could never do that. So
thank you.
Kudos to you. And I have to say,
said I could never have written The Go-Giver, either could I. I mean, John.
Right. Your name's on the book, though. So.
Whose idea was it to give it a story instead of just making it a law 1, law 2, law 5 chapters, and we were done?
Yeah. So my previous books had all been how-to books.
Right.
My first one was Endless Referrals, which was on how to build relationships in the marketplace, for salespeople and entrepreneurs who knew they had a great product or service, but they didn't necessarily feel comfortable or confident going into their areas and building those kinds of relationships that would cause people to want to do business with them directly and refer them to others. So that was my first book. And it was really the basic premise was that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. You probably remember that from in law number 3 of The Go-Giver, right? We talked about that.
Right.
But I had thought, even at that time, it was a how-to book, but I thought, wouldn't it be great to take, the basic principles and sort of make a story out of it? But, again, I'm a how-to author, and that's a lot different. Writing a how-to book is actually fairly easy. Write down what you know or what you think you know. Write it out, get a good editor, work with them on it. It's a how-to book. Right. I knew that, while I can maybe tell a story from stage because the story is true, writing a parable is a whole different animal.
Yeah.
And so I just sat on the idea for a long time until I met John. He was the editor-in-chief of a magazine I was writing for. And even back then, he had a wonderful reputation as a brilliant author within his circle. And fortunately, I became part of that circle. and so I got to really see just how fantastic he was. A great guy, very humble, and just just had a great attitude. And so I finally said, I really want to do that book, that parable, but John's the only one I want to write this with. And so I approached him with we had never met in person at that time, by the way. And so I asked him about it, and he was very busy doing what he was doing. However, as you know, I live on the East Coast of Florida. He and his fiance, now wife, of 15 years, but back then fiance Anna, they were in the Tampa area visiting her mom. They actually took a 4-hour drive over. We went out and had a 3-hour dinner, the 3 of us, and just discussed the idea of the book.
Oh, wow.
and so forth, and how we would approach it, what we would expect. And about it was, still another 3 weeks before John called me and said, Anna and I have been talking about this. We think it's a good idea. Let's do this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is something really magical. And it's interesting. So there's a number of books in the series. There's 4 books, 4 parables, 3 parables, 4 books that John and I wrote together. Well, there's a 5th one that John wrote with Anna.
Oh, really?
For marriage.
Oh,
Awesome.
And that's Anna's field. And so they basically wrote half parable, half how to.
Uh-huh.
okay.
Did a beautiful job with it. And so yeah, there's actually the Go Giver Marriage, now the 5th book in the series, the 4th parable. But yeah, so that's kind of how that whole thing, started as far as us even doing this. The toughest part wasn't the writing, because we actually, we did that within a few months. And again, I credit John so much because wow, he's just so fantastic. But it took a year and 24 rejections by New York publishing houses.
What?
The 25th one said yes.
What the what?
Yeah, that.
I'm sure those 24 are kicking themselves now.
They
so.
should be.
Oh, my goodness.
Love the story. Oh,
But
my goodness.
it's really, when you think about it, it's part of life, and there's a good lesson there too. That not everyone, first of all, is going to really get what you're doing. Others, it's just not a match. There's some of them just didn't want to do a parable. Some thought, well, yeah, there's been so many parables. It's a good idea, but not something we want to take a chance with. Others didn't really like the story itself. Others had constructed. Yeah. So, what we did, what John and I did is we just, we've both been in sales, so we're both used to a lot of no's.
Yeah.
Okay? And we just said, okay, so let's take every no. And our agent, Margaret, she's amazing. So she would get feedback from all of them and share it with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, John and I just said, let's take all the feedback. We know that, some of it isn't going to really apply to the ones who just didn't want to do a parable. Well, that's they just wanted a parable. But one had certain critique, let's say, let's look at it and let's also put it out to our brain trust of people that we, and see what they say too. So we made a few changes, but what the biggest thing of all was, at about the 19th or 20th rejection, one of them told Margaret, our agent, they said, we just don't think, that their platform is big enough. Now, you all know when a publisher says platform, they mean how many people already are going to buy the book just because it's you.
Right.
Okay.
So here's the thing. We knew we had a big enough platform, but we obviously didn't communicate it effectively.
Okay.
So we went back to the drawing board, made a whole new promotional video, and put that together. And then again with the 25th one, we hit Portfolio, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House. Not only did they say yes, but they've just been the best publishing partner you could have ever.
Wow.
So God always knows, and when the right one comes along, that's when the right.
His timing is perfect. Like Rick Ruth said, the first 24, that's terrible, because you had me in at the first chapter. I mean, I just wanted to figure out what was going to happen. Kept going. So nobody would be interested in it. That's not true.
Well, what's interesting, really, that is that the book series Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
Created
Yes. How many more chicken soups are we gonna have?
Well, yeah, probably endless.
Yeah.
But they were rejected like 250 times. And and their books have sold over half a billion copies.
Yeah.
So I can imagine within those 250 publishers, there are some that were kicking themselves. They make our sales look minuscule, but but again, that's life. That's how it is. And
yes,
I had a woman email me to say that that her book has been turned down now by 3 publishers, and obviously nobody wants to hear what she has to say. And I was able to write her back and just say, that's not so. That's 3 people.
Right.
That's 3 people. It took us 24 times. It took Mark and Jack 250 times. 3 people, 3 no's are not the end of it.
That's
No.
You
it.
got a lot more no's to go before
Thank you.
Oh.
I say thank you for sharing that story because
Yes.
we like to say here at Authors Up that only the author could tell the story like nobody else can, and that's certainly true with that story right there because we would have never known that, and I'm totally shocked. But thank you for sharing. I'm sorry, Ruth. Go ahead.
Wow.
No, yep.
That's amazing.
Andrea, go ahead.
That just blows me away because when you like
Truly.
something, the way that we like the Go Giver, you just make the assumption that everybody who picks it up
Right.
going to love it as much as you do, and they're going to want to talk about it as much as you do, and everything is flowing and all right with the world. But to know that you had those rejections, but there was something in you that made you keep going.
Yeah.
And something that made
So
you
encouraging.
know inherently that this is something that can help somebody.
Yeah,
Make it happen.
I think that's a great point. We had a belief in the mission we were on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book. It was in fact, this was self-published, and it came out about a year or two after John's and my book came out. And it's authored by a couple of friends of mine, Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton. It's called "Go for No." It's a parable, and their subtitle is "Yes is the destination, no is how you get there."
Get there.
Oh wow.
They reframe totally.
Yeah.
Word no. But again, that doesn't mean it's fun to be told no.
Right.
It just means it's part of the process.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you this too, because I know you said in the book that you weren't looking for laws, you weren't looking for it to be the how-to book with 5 laws all laid out neatly. It just that it turned out to be that. That's the way that the book ended up being. But as you speak to different organizations and you have the opportunity to hear from your readers on different levels and different ages and all of that, is there a particular law that stands out to them as for them to be able to say this is the one? It's that law number 3, that's the one. Or do you find that there is one that tends to touch people or turn people or just kind of nails it for them?
I think if there's one law that's the most difficult for people, it's and this is overwhelmingly so, it's law number 5, the law of receptivity. I can't tell you how often John and I have received emails from people, or I've seen people at talks or whatever who've come up to me and say, "Oh man, 1 through 4, got it, nailed it, not an issue, not a problem." But that law of receptivity, wow, that was the toughest one of all.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, because in our world, in our society, there are so many negative messages, really anti-prosperity messages that come at us all the time from everywhere. Whether it's upbringing, environment, schooling, news media, television shows, movies, they're just all over the place. And so it's very easy to see how that anti-prosperity can get into one's unconscious, right?
Right.
And that's tough because you're not, by the very nature of it being unconscious, you are not conscious of it being an issue, right? And so that's so what one thing I suggest to people is, and so while John and I touched on it in the the law of receptivity and in the chapter, obviously we didn't go real deep in it. It's a parable. You can only go so deep. But I recommend people make an active study of prosperity. And there are so many good teachers out there who write and do videos and speak in the whole thing. People from like Randy Gage and Ellen Rogan from Chicago, and Lisa Peterson, Sharon Lecter, David Nagel, the late Bob Proctor, Ken Honda. I mean, these are people who just write brilliantly. on prosperity mindset. And I'll tell you, 99% of what they write about is simply how to get past those mental unconscious blocks that keeping you from the abundance and the prosperity that you so rightly deserve. Help you clear that out. And so I think that's so important. But yeah, so to answer the question, the law of receptivity is definitely the one most people have.
And I wanted to ask you this as well, because you could have done it a different way, I think, and it would have been as effective. But the fact that the challenge with each of these laws was that they had to do something that day. And that really stuck with me, because I think a lot of times, and we've had discussions about it before, that we get a lot of information. We have so much information. There are a lot of how-to books, and there are a lot of things out there that give us a better way to do this, that, or whatever. But we don't follow through with those things.
Right.
It's like, I always say, it's like going to a conference and you leave with this suitcase of great stuff that you never unpack once you get home, you know.
Right.
You just have all of this stuff. What made you decide, or was it a conscious decision, that it had to be right then? That it had to be something that they would go away and do? And I think in one of the laws, Joe had done it and didn't even realize that he had, because it was becoming so much a part of him.
Yeah.
But in the very beginning, what made you say, no, he's got to do this thing right now?
Yeah, for the very reason that an idea can sound great, but if you don't take action on it, it's the same as not even having that. Knowledge without action is the same as no knowledge at all. And there's another law. I learned this. I had heard a speaker. I don't even remember the name of the person. I wish I did, because I like to credit people when I quote them. But she called it the law of diminishing intent. And she said, the longer you take to do something that you know you should do now, the greater chances are you'll never actually do it. And so John and I really wanted to make the point that this was not something to think about. In fact, Pindar told Joe, don't think about it. Don't question it. Don't ask how it will work or what. Just go ahead and do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just go ahead and take the action. And when you take the action, now that, that's when things start to happen. Yeah.
And he was able to do that. He didn't fight doing that. And I thought, was it his desire to get this account so strong, that whatever Pindar told him to do, that's what he was going to do. And that's the way that he put it forward. Amazing. I loved it. We our time, I tell you, we got to watch our time. Victoria, I know you got something for him.
Well, I didn't have a question so much as a comment. And I'm going to say this right up for those of you who are listening and watching. Get the book. Get the book. It is available wherever books are sold. I know that. So I won't ask you where to get the book, because we know it's available. Get the book. I was very impressed about Joe's journey. I'm done at Joe's journey. Joe's journey was amazing, because he did not think he was going to learn what he learned. He saw it from a different lens. So you got to get the book. And I got it immediately that the first law is what really spoke to me. I'm going to say, I have a jewelry business, and I believe I probably give away more than I sell. Now, that's the truth. And I've been criticized for it. But I have put those naysayers aside, because I'm doing the law and didn't know I was doing it. It's an experience for me. And I've heard people say that I have a website, and people, I can never get any of my customers to go to the website. They're like, I don't want to shop on the website. I'd rather, I sell Facebook on live. They say, I'd rather watch your lives. And they said it's an experience. The way you talk about your jewelry, you have such joy, and you genuinely care about the customers and how we feel and all of that. And I just feel like I'm just saying, hey, look at this earring right here. You know, it's so pretty. That was nice for you. And I'm just having a ball. And I've come to realize it is the joy that I get from doing it that comes out. And so I'm just going to tell everybody, get the book, because you will see yourself in this book from law 1 to 5. So I thank you for writing it. And I had heard of it through my co-host. They kept saying, you need to read this book. And I was like, okay. But when they said you were coming on the show, I finally got around to it. Thank you so much. Would you tell our viewers and our listeners, if they wanted to get in touch with you, how could they do that? Do you have a website, email address? What do you have for us?
Sure. The best way is just to visit my website, which is Burg, BURG.com.
Okay.
Things simple.
Easy.
And while you're there, I'd like to subscribe to my daily impact email, which is something I put out Monday through Friday, first thing in the morning. So you can have it with your coffee or read it, during the day. It's usually a little brief kind of thing called the Daily Impact Email. And
going now. Go ahead, keep going.
And if you'd like to read a chapter of the book first to see if they like it, they'll see where they can read chapter 1. I think it's either chapter 1 and 2, or maybe just chapter 1 on that one. I'm not sure, but they can read it, see if they like it first before ordering it. And if they do, I hope they enjoy it.
They will.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
They will. Thank you so much.
We have 1 minute. 1 minute. Bob, I want to say my thank you for writing the book, for being on our program tonight, and for sharing with us this incredible journey that you and Bob had. Is it Bob? John. In writing this book and putting this parable together. Thank you that you did not say, they're right, but you kept got it out there for the rest of us. One last thing, Ruth, you know what you got to do.
Thank you. No, Bob, thank you so much for coming on our show. We do appreciate your time. Wanted to ask you if there's anything you want to leave with our audience.
I just want to wish everyone well, wish you much stratospheric success on your journey, and go through as many no's as you have to if you really, really want this to happen.
Yes. Thank you. Drop the mic.
Thank you all so much. You're delightful. I'm so glad our friend Teresa introduced us.
Thank you.
Well, I tell you what, that was that is an interview that I will keep on file for myself for a long time. To go back and review, to go back and look at, and to go back and just be reminded to keep going, If there's something that you believe in, that, whether it is a writing, whether it is a project, whatever it happens to be, go through the no's. Just go through the no's until you get to that yes. That was, I so enjoyed that. I so enjoyed him being with us and sharing his book, and as a co-author of a powerful little book, because it's not a volume of of many pages, but I tell you, there is power in the Go-Giver, and I thank him so much for being with us and recording that interview. Now, Ruth, there was something that I was trying to get you to do that day.
I like what she did, though. She flipped it back to Bob.
If you could read my brain, if you could see the thoughts that were going through my head in that moment, going, how do I do this?
It was very inspiring to know that that book has sold over 1 million copies.
Millions.
30 languages.
Millions of copies.
Mhm.
Millions, not just over 1 million, but
No,
millions.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll have to say, I usually don't like listening to myself on video, but going back, hearing the interview, I was like, oh, that was good. That was good. That was good. Worth ignoring my own voice to hear that.
Yes,
So,
yes. It was a really good interview. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I was just blown away. Now I'm even more blown away by millions of copies.
millions of copies.
Oh, and I just sold 5 of mine.
Yeah, that's a start. No, yeah. That's good though. All right, though. But
All right.
we're already at overtime, but
Yes.
it was definitely worth it. And I will do my part, which is to say we are on social media. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search for Authors Up Show. We will have a replay of the show on Saturday night here on Facebook. But if you are not a Facebook fan, you can always go to YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. The show will be uploaded midweek. You can take us with you wherever you go. And please follow, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Tell them to come back.
All right.
This is one time. Well, I'm always happy that we get the opportunity to replay, but I really want those of you who have listened tonight and have tuned in with us, share this with someone. I'm telling you, it's an easy read. It's a powerful read.
Yes.
It is
Yes,
also
book.
a life-changing read. So if you listen tonight, if you've got a friend, a coworker, of whatever, somebody that you really want to bless and really want to see them blessed, let me tell you, just ask them to tune in to the replay, to listen to the program, and just be blessed by these principles of the go giver. And you'll be glad that you did, and so will they. You know how people print things and say, "You'll thank me later. You'll thank us later. You'll thank us later." So that is it for us for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, Sam. Thank you for being here, and Nikayetta and Linda and Laurie and whoever else is out there in the background. We appreciate you. We can't do it without you, and we are glad that you were able to share this time with us. We'll be here next week. I do believe we'll be here next week at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Got something special for you. We always do. And we are so glad that you spend this time with us. If you haven't been doing it, put us on your calendar, put us on your, put us in your watch, put us wherever you put things that you need to remember, because this is an important one. So come back, join us. Don't forget at 7 p.m. this coming Saturday, you will be able to catch the replay of Bob Burg and the Go Giver. And on Sunday, we'll be right back here again at 7 p.m. Make this your favorite place to be. It certainly is ours. And we enjoy having you with us. We thank you for tonight. And that's it. That's all. And we are out. God bless you and have a great week.
Good night, Brian's girls.
Good night.
Good night.